Does anybody remember what an algorithm is? Say it out loud.
Step by step.
Right. So it's step-by-step instructions. And they are a set of rules, okay? Maybe get a new pen. All right, so algorithm are step-by-step instruction, and there are also rules. Remember we spoke about creating an algorithm for making breakfast or getting up in the morning. All right, we're going to go over the sample algorithm that I have. So pull out the sample. All right, so this is just an example of an algorithm to determine which class you'd be in good counsel, and if you were in a particular class, which room they'd be sending you to. So, rule number 1, if you're in the IB program, then go to the college room. Like I said, these are rules. If your birthday is between September 1, 98 and August 31st, 99, and you're not in IB, you're a freshman and should report to the cafeteria. Next one, if your birthday is between September 1st, 97 and 98, and you're not in IB, then go ahead and you're a sophomore, and then you should report to the Kane Center. Next rule, if your birthday is between, September 1, 96, 97, you get the point, rule after rule. If you get to the end and you're not in any of those categories, it says go to the front desk, front office. All right, so do you see how it's just a simple set of rules telling everybody where to go? Simple set of instructions. After an algorithm is created, the next step on your software development sheet is to create a flow chart. So we're going to do that. I'll show you a sample flow chart. All right, so the point of a flow chart is to show the different paths a program will take depending on what data the user has entered. Okay, so let's everybody write that down. Okay, pull out the flow chart. So if you want to, you might want to hold your algorithm up next to your flow chart, and you guys will notice on the one that I printed out for you guys, I forgot a line. This line in this upper right, this one right here. You guys might want to need to draw that one in there, okay? It goes down to the end. So reporting to the college room, after that you follow that line all the way down to the end. All right, flow chart. So let's pretend we have like a website or something like that, okay? So it's website is a program. So we're starting. First question is going to ask you, are you an IB? All right, so let's look at our algorithm. What happens if we're an IB? Right, so you automatically get sent to the college room. If you're not an IB, you're going to go this way. So if you are an IB, you're going to bypass all of this stuff down here, and you're going to go straight to the college room and end. If you're not an IB, they want to know what your birthday is. Okay? Depending on what your user enters, it's going to ask you, are you between this and this? If yes, you're a freshman and head to the cafeteria. After that, you go to the end. If you're between this date and this date, same thing. Sophomores to the Kane Center. Do you understand the overall flow of this? Okay? And then at the end, if you're not between any of these dates and you're still a no, go to the front office and they can figure out what to do with you. And then you go to the end. All right? So it's just a visual aid to walk you through your steps and your decisions. It helps you kind of come up with what other factors might arise when someone's inputting data in the program. Like, let's say I didn't have this no right here at the bottom. Well, what happens to that user that's stuck? They don't know what to do. Their birthdays aren't in there. They're not in IB. What do I do? So you have to think of all of the alternatives. All right, so now that they've got their steps written in their algorithm and they've got their flow chart all laid out and they feel like they've covered all their bases, now they're going to start writing their program language, okay? So this is the language detailing all of the instructions. No, we talked about it before. What are some examples of programming languages?
COBOL, Java,
COBOL, Java, BASIC. Very good. So this is like a sample of programming code, all right? And I wrote it to go with the algorithm and the flowchart that I created. Okay? So it's like a nested if-then statement. So notice the user is putting in the information up here. They're going to be putting in whether they're IB or not, and they're also going to be putting in their date of birth. Okay? The first thing they're going to be asked is if they're an IB. If they're not an IB, we're going to say it's a 0, and then we're going to go through all of these steps. If they are an IB, which means else, then their message is going to say, oh, you're an IB and should report to the college room. Okay? If you're not an IB, it's going to start asking questions. So if the date of birth is between these dates, you're going to get this message. So you notice how it has if, then, else if, then. Okay? So you're going to go through this whole thing until you figure out what you want. Okay? And then you've got your end. So, and also notice that the else, if you're not in any of these birthday categories, you're going to end with, okay, report to the front office. So this is just like a simple, very simple intro level to, this is actually looks like Visual Basic. Okay? So we wrote our algorithm, we made our flowchart, and now we've programmed our code. We wrote our code to do exactly what it is that we wanted to do. Okay. Computer translated all of that program language that I showed you, all of those if, then, else statements, that's the program, and they turned it into binary code, okay, so that the computer can read it and process it. So after their computer and after their program is written and they feel like they've done a good job, this is when they're going to do their beta testing, which we discussed last class. Beta testing is quality control. All right, so it's a way of them putting out one version of their program, let a small group of users use it, find all of the bugs, and then they can evaluate it and make fixes to it before they release it to the entire public. All right, now I want you guys to get back in your groups. And we had discussed the difference between system software and application software. Do you have a question, Greg?
Yes. If they have to go back and then because they didn't include something, do they have to restart on
The program?
Yeah.
No, it's basically like a document, really. And they just are writing the whole thing out, and then there's programs that step through the whole thing, and a lot of times it doesn't work or it gets hung up somewhere, and then you just go right in where you need to. Okay, so we talked about how we need system software on our computer. All right? And application software kind of sits on top of the system software. So what I want you to do is break up into your groups, and the directions say, identify important details and write them on the lines outside of the pyramid. Include examples of the software on the line inside of the pyramid. Okay? So when I say examples, I mean like Word or iOS 7, things like that.
To perform useful tasks beyond the running of the computer itself.
Okay. Do you want to summarize that?
Yeah, it's pretty much just the things you can do on a computer that aren't like what the basics are. Like, it's the expansions that you use the computer for.
Okay, great. So they just control like the main operations of the computer, all right? The basic operations. So it's a group of programs that coordinate and control resources and operations. What do you guys have written on the inside? Windows, Mac, Linux. How about like iOS 7? iOS. Those are all operating systems, right? But there are two other things aside from operating systems that are part of system software. Go ahead, Quinn.
Utilities and language translator.
Right, so you got utilities and language translators. Name a utility for me. The book says one. Does anybody have a utility down? How about the task manager? That's where you can go and see what is actually running on your computer. And how about the disk defragmenter? That's the one that the book mentions.
Those are utilities.
Those are utilities, yep. Now there's also language translators, and I'm just going to put them on the outside over here. Now keep in mind that the operating system is the interface, okay, between the user and the computer, okay? Does everybody understand that? Like there's the picture in your book and it has the girl, and then there's the computer, and the operating system is the gateway in between the two. All right? All right, application software. What do you guys have written on the outside? Quinn.
Productivity software.
Right? Productivity software. What else? Yeah.
Applications.
What's application software? Yeah. How many tasks does
Other stuff you can-
how many tasks does this type of software usually perform? One. You usually buy an application to accomplish one thing, really. All right, so it usually performs one task. All right, now what do you guys have written on the inside for examples? iMovie, PowerPoint. What else? Huh? Word. Okay. Like Norton. I'll write Norton down. About like iTunes. All right, those are all application software.